Hello everybody and welcome back to another video. Today I'd like to talk about the recent FNCS heats on NA Central and break down everything that just went down. With the heats now finished, we've got a much better idea of who's actually going to Grands and who fell short. Of course, we still have to wait for the last chance qualifier to truly know what all 33 teams will be in that Grands lobby, but we can have a great picture now of what to expect from Grands. As expected, there were a couple surprises, a couple great teams that did fail to qualify, and a few teams that I did not expect to make Grands that made it all the way there. From Heat 1, our first game winners were Skittles, Chimp, and Aviv. Seeing a grand final without these three would be absolutely insane, especially coming from an uncontested Outlaw Oasis. It was not a surprise that they qualified. They won Game 1 from the low ground with 8 eliminations and will be landing Outlaw Oasis for Grands as well. Personally, Skittles has always been one of my favorite players, and I'm excited to see them in Grands. Our second game winner was Taki, Eshao, and Vert, landing up in this split up north, as you can see on your screen. They psychoed high ground in both games 1 and 2, and they placed second in game 1 before winning game 2 with 10 eliminations. I was not expecting this level of play and consistency from this trio, and I'm very excited to see what we will get out of them for Grands. Our third game winner was Visuals, Braids, and Aminish out of Foxy Floodgate. In game 1, they actually contested and killed Peter and Cold off spawn at the Dilbit farm, but they did not continue to fight them in the next 2 games. They struggled in game 2, but continued to come back for a strong win in game 3 with 2 eliminations, playing from the high ground. In game 4, we had Joji, Donnie, and Craze from the low ground take the game with 12 eliminations. They landed Shining Span and the surrounding area. Craze seems absolutely insane right now, even after getting snaked by Booga, and he stays dominant and solidified his spot for Grands. Winning the final game, we had Tony, Noisy, and Creon from Pump Power. They won the game for the low ground with 5 eliminations, and with multiple 5 high elim games throughout the tournament, it's not a surprise to me that they ended up qualifying. Qualifying from consistency, of course, we have 5 teams, Peterbot, Cold, and Ritual. I was actually surprised that they did not win a game, especially considering they dropped 2 20 bombs, one of them being 26 kills in heats, but they were unable to close out any of the games. Landing the Dilbit Farm, Train, and Crime City, along with the Crime City Black Market. They actually did lose the one game that they were contested at the Dilbit Farm. Cold and Peter both dying with Ritual landing farther away. Obviously, we mentioned earlier they died to Visuals, Braids, and Diminished, but they decided not to continue contesting that, and Cold and Peterbot were able to get it the rest of the games. In 7th overall, we had G-Money, Osid, and Bryce X qualifying after having only one game where they were not in the top 6, and they landed from the Hopeful Heights and Turtles. In 8th, we had Golden, Void, and Ozone from Shogun Solitude. They played very well throughout the tournament. However, in 8th place, they did not dominate, but a very good tournament from them. In 9th place, we had Josh, Kazers, and Magma in 9th from the Trailer Park. They were originally landing Magic Mosses, but after seeing it triple contested, they ended up moving to the Trailer Park right before Heats. And to wrap it up, we had Shadow, Tyler, and Curve from Flutter Frogs. Another great trio that would have been impossible to have a final without them. That wraps up Heat 1. It was a pretty expected heat for me. All of these teams I was not surprised to see qualify. Although we did now have no Edgy in Grands, which is going to be interesting, but overall a pretty average heat. From Heat 2, we had our Game 1 winners who were Muzz, Yapko, and Rise, landing at Shiny Staffs. They opened up the heat very strong and closed out the first match with a win, and they have shown all season that they are top-level contenders, and I expect them to do well in Grands. In Game 2, we had Enough, Mafia, and Have take the victory, coming out of Magic Mosses. Solid showing from them early on, considering the inexperience of this trio, with Mafia only having 300 earned, this was surprising to me. Game 3 went to Aiden, Dulzer, and Natsumos, winning from the Pawn split, which I'm showing right now. Quiet but clean performance from them that got them through off spawn, and they closed out game with 12 eliminations. 20, Liam, and Brokum won the 4th game of the tournament, coming from the Canyon Crossing area. They really struggled in their first 3 games, but they figured out really strong and ended with a game win in 4. Sandman, Even, and Xanda came from out of boxcars, and they clutched up a win in game 5, which is honestly a huge surprise for me. Sandman's always been in and around the FN community, but seeing him qual another Grands here was surprising to me. From consistency, we saw Bucky, Okas, and Cam from the Rainbow Field split. They were learning the drum gun every game, and they played very well throughout. Booga, Rapid, and Threats also made it through from Seaport City. From Magic Mosses, we had another trio qualify from Vedic, Fuzak, and Maniac qual as well. Vortec, Bacon, and Nerface came out of Kappa Kappa Factory, and rounding out the heat, we had Clix, Iamzo, and Higgs from Lone Wolf Lair. A couple surprises, especially seeing Clix, Iamzo, and Higgs barely qualifying in 10th. And I'm really happy to see Thetic there, as I've been following for a while since he absolutely destroyed me in the Solo Victory Cup game in Chapter 5. So I'm very happy to see them all the way qualifying from Grants from when he was back then. From Heat 3, kicking off the heat strongly, we had Game 1 go to Kanata, Bolts, and Sphinx, my favorite trio, landing at Hopeful Heights. A very solid start from the trio, right in and out of the tourney, and getting the win early took the pressure off. Game 2 was won by Reet, Cooper, and Curly, landing at Flooded Frogs. They played that game very well and locked in their spot quickly. In Game 3, we had Aoxy, Jojo Fishy, and Pikes grab the win, landing from this split right here. You'll see an image on your screen. Game 4 was taken by Cynix, Polar, and Decay, landing just south of Demon's Dojo. To finish off the heat, we had Game 5 won by Agers, Acorn, and Poyo, landing at Mass Meadows. Obviously, just making us sweat here. We all knew they were going to qualify. From consistency, we had Silic, Yarg, and King qualifying from Lone Wolf Lair. Obviously, they will not be landing there in Grants. Noah, W Plays, Chaos, and Kazx made it out as well, landing Hopeful in Seaport and Heats. They switched to Hopeful after Kanata's trio qualified in Game 1. Eulogy, Phenom, and Youssef landed Shining Span and stayed steady enough across all the games to make it through. Jixie, Jekyll, and Polis qualified out of Boxcars, and Catman, Amplify, and Lorez closed out the top 10. They will be landing shiny throughout the heats. Another solid heat, a few big names and some quieter teams stepping up when it mattered. Obviously, this was not the death heat like we saw so many other heats, but still a fun heat to watch. Overall, all of these heats were very good, very high level, and with all the major teams qualifying and many unexpected teams doing so well, after watching the Last Chance Major, we will get a much better look on what we'll see in Grands. I will have a video out after Last Chance Major on all of the trios we'll see. We'll see my predictions. I'm not sure if I'm going to do like a top 5, a top 10, or maybe I'll rank every trio in Grands. But stay tuned for that. Thank you for watching, and I will see you next time. Bye.